What's up, motherfuckers? This is an awesome one. I asked an anti-crypto sub with 100,000 members for their top arguments against Bitcoin, and this was the 10 best they could come up with. And at the end of this, I want to show you guys how to, at least my framework for finding useful DeFi protocols that aren't going to just be rug pulls and things like that. For those of you guys who know me already, Frankie Finn, the DeFi daddy here. So number one reason, the existence of exchanges had made Bitcoin core claims completely irrelevant. Number two, it is at best a toy. In reality, it's a massive disaster to people who were scammed, to the environment, to the victims of ransomware. The list goes on and on. Right now, a million crypto bros are dreaming up ways to do even more harm. And most damning of all, this is for absolutely nothing. There's no problem that a blockchain can solve that isn't better solved by something else. I would disagree with that one in particular. Although there are some validity to some of these, by the way. Number three, you guys ask this shit every day. It gets so goddamn old. You're so fucking obnoxious. I can't stand you. This is my favorite one, by the way, because it's probably the most truthful one. Sometimes us crypto people are fucking obnoxious. Number four, simply put, crypto is about nothing. It offers nothing, provides nothing. It is people speculating on the value of nothing being worth something, but in the end, it's nothing. If you held a jar of Hobo's dick cheese in your hand, you have something more intrinsically valuable than any amount of crypto. At least you have a jar which has its uses. For a bunch of people who think this is the mega game changer, they're sure spending a lot of time online, advertising money, and paid celebrities to convince us how amazing it is, yet I don't see a mass adoption 13 years later. This is a hard one for people, by the way, because it's not a physical, tangible thing. Like, I was probably one of the last people to resist ebooks, and then I realized how well ebooks travel. Like, a friend said to me, I can take my whole library on a plane with me in this little thing, and I realized, hey, there's real value, but because it's not a thing you can touch and hold in your hand, I understand why a lot of people feel that way. What interest rate would you charge for a 30-year mortgage lent out in any non-stable coin of your choice? Because at best, stable coins are only meant to mirror their pegged currency. If you can't give me an interest rate that approaches interest rates used today, then your currency will never and ever can't be adopted as a true currency. If you're just using it to gamble, then gamble away. Just don't make any illusions about a possible future of actual adoption. Number six, there would be no Bitcoin in the madman future someone is prepping for. Unfortunately, that's against an old argument for crypto. They keep changing their purpose. Usually it contradicts itself, and there is a new purpose every day. Number seven, volatility makes it useless. If I gave you $100 in Bitcoin and it tanks in a day, I did well and you did not. Or the opposite, and it goes up. Someone always loses in the transaction. It's up and down so much, even a few percent in a matter of hours. Sure, that's not a big deal for $20 to $50, but if we're talking thousands, my fiat doesn't change that much real quick. By the way, counterpoint on this. Fiat, over 100 years, is fucking 100% guaranteed to lose money. They print more and more of it, and it just devalues. If you look at the prices over years, I'm going to actually, let's see if we can actually just do a little Google search. Value of US dollar over time. And this is what all currencies in the world are based on. So like they say, well, it's not volatile, but they don't realize that they are being stolen from. Here's an awesome one, by the way. Shows you the value. And in 1933, when the Federal Reserve came out, which is here, it has literally gone down. And empires have crashed, by the way. When the value of the currency drops below 1%, we are actually past 1% right now. There's been 300 and something fiat currencies in history that I know of, and they all crashed, every single one of them. And we're at that point because it's a negative sum Ponzi pyramid hybrid scheme that absolutely has no real world value. Number nine, it's just like fiat cash, only way less secure, far less convenient, and with unbelievable teller fees. It's a solution in search of a problem. Number 10, my top argument is crypto is reinventing what we already have. Fractional reserve banking equals stablecoin. Fast transactions, Lightning equals Visa. Distributed ledger equals database. Exchanges equals banks. Carbon converted to CO2 en masse equals mining. All right, so the point, there is a point to this video, other than I thought it would be really interesting to start in here and show you guys something, is the thing I wanted to show you guys here is specifically in DeFi is like there's some validity to the shit they're saying. Like there's a lot of rug pulls, there's a lot of bullshit. Like when people think about crypto, they think about ape NFTs and shit coins and fucking Shiba Inu and Dogecoin and shit like that. And so one of the worst things you can do is chase things that have no validity. And so here's a real question that I ask myself, and I wanted to make this video because I think this question will be a game changer for a lot of you guys. I have to copy and paste the letter M because my little girl peed on my keyboard. Those of you guys who are parents can really appreciate that. So the question is, does the APY or the APR, in other words, does the money I'm making, does the cash flow, let's call it does the cash flow, come from future investors, or, I know I'm typing really small here, does the cash flow come from providing needed liquidity for, let's just put provided, because here's the deal, okay? So I see a lot of things right here that promise like you can get 800% APY and blah, 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 and amazing returns, and you're going to get rich. And almost all of those are like basically like Ponzi schemes and rug pulls. And the reason why they are is because the only way that you can actually make that money is if new investors endlessly come in. Now you'll see on some of the other like projects I've kind of showed you guys on this exchange is almost always the liquidity comes from, or the cash flow comes from providing needed liquidity. So like, for example, like one of the things I do is a lot of exchanges, right? An exchange, there's people who need to move in and out of token A and B. And as long as token A and B don't have a lot of people providing liquidity, what happens is then you can get really high returns on something, and they can be very legitimate because people are trading in and out of those two tokens. Or like, for example, I used an example of one called LooksRare the other day, and let's just go to LooksRare real quick. And LooksRare, one of the things about LooksRare is like the rewards come from the fact that people buy and sell the ape stuff on their exchange, but when they do, there's a 2.5% fee, and you providing liquidity get a little cut of that 2.5% fee. And so every time somebody uses it, you're getting a cut of that. So that's not like just money randomly coming from nowhere. It's coming from every single time people are using it. So does it come from like providing liquidity so people can facilitate trades on the exchange? In this case, yes. So I think the more legitimate stuff are the kind of like exchanges, provide liquidity, like there's a reason why they need to be able to move the funds back and forth. There's a use case, if you will. So a lot of times you'll see like words used in these things. They'll say like nodes and you know, that kind of stuff like that. And the words in these cases, they're often less exciting. They say things like liquidity pools or APY and things like that. But this is the question I ask myself, because you don't want to invest in stuff that's eventually going to go to zero. Is like, can this actually be sustained? In the case of exchanges, maybe the APY won't be exchanged as there's more liquidity coming into the pool. Those numbers will go down, but it's not going to go to zero, right? Because people are going to swap in and out of those tokens. So hope that's helpful to you guys. I would love to hear your thoughts on the original thing, by the way, about these 10 arguments against Bitcoin. And by the way, I'm going to link to this so you guys can read it for yourself and read the comments if you want, because it's highly, highly interesting. But I would love to hear your best counterpoint for why crypto is actually worth it. I'll give you mine. Is because the reason crypto was created, and obviously it's become a bastardized version of that with a lot of shitcoins and things like that, but the real reason it started is because the fiat system prints money from nothing. It is criminal. Banks and governments steal from people, and they do that through constantly inflating prices and creating new taxes, and it just goes on forever and forever as they deflate the dollar and give more and more to themselves. And crypto at least gives us the power to create our own currency with our own rules that doesn't require any bank or any permission or any mortgage officer. It's peer-to-peer and it's permissionless. So the actual use case to me is pretty fucking obvious, but I think most people haven't figured that out. And some of these points are actually very valid, but I would love to hear your best counterpoint. And if you're not already subscribed, make sure to subscribe.